What's good, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Marcel P. Black, as you see. MarcelPBlack.com, man. This next brother I'm about to have a discussion with somebody who I met some years ago. We'll talk about that a little bit, how we actually met. Brother Lyfestile representing that 314. Straight out of
Peace,
St. Louis,
peace,
you know what I'm
peace.
saying? Peace, how you doing, man?
Peace. I'm good, Black. Glad to be here, man. Honored.
Yeah, yes, indeed, man. Like you are one of my favorite Facebook posters.
I appreciate that,
I
man.
just watching.
Likewise.
Like I know you come well respected from Tev Poe to NATO Khalif, even the God Truth Universal. I think that's how we originally met. Or have you?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying. And just your nuanced takes. You as a writer, you know what I'm saying. I have a thing against like not a thing, but like as I'm getting older, I'm trying to learn how to gracefully age in the culture. And
Yes, sir.
and I look at you as a person who, okay, I like how he's aged. You know what I'm saying? As the grays come in the beard, it's not the bitterness that we see. You know what I'm saying? That we see. And I'm 37, so like I see cats my age who are kind of going in that direction. Like, man, you ain't even 40 yet. You already mad these young dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? We still got whatever. So
Right.
so like I said, it's something I always look to you for. So real quick, do you remember how we met?
I do, actually. It was a show. I don't know if I remember all the details, but I remember you were there. Truth Universal was there, and there may have been a couple other acts at a venue, Southside St. Louis. I think it was the Blank Space, if I'm not mistaken. NATO Khalif, and a couple of DJs. I can't remember everybody, but yeah, I do. I remember that show. I remember your set, the work you put in. And we spoke at that show, man. So yeah, I do remember, man.
Yes, yeah. So peace to the God Truth Universal, man. That's my OG, that's my mentor.
No doubt. Peace.
That is the person who like really opened the doors for me. And like I can talk all day about him, but this is when I wasn't really touring. I was doing out of town dates, but at the time I want to say we did a show, we did back-to-back shows in Memphis and then in St. Louis, so right up to 55. And we did the build, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was with NATO Khalif. It was at Blank Space. I want to say it was April. I'm positive it was at the end of April 2014. And the reason why I remember this is because I came back literally 2 weeks later, May 10th, to do Tev Poe's Cheer for the Villa Album release party. So that's kind of why I remember, you know what I'm saying, the dates or whatever. And I remember you. Because, first of all, you tall, you had long dreads. But when you started your set, you was like, I'm gonna let y'all know right now, there's gonna be a lot of call and response. But that's how you started, and that's what caught my attention. And Truth was like, yo, check the guy out or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I remember you rocking. I was okay, cool. Like this is dope. Like one of the things I like about St. Louis hip hop so much. As I tour around the country, I realized that the best hip hop scenes have a good mixture of elder statements, of OGs, and they got young boys, right? So like there's certain hip hop scenes I go to where at in my mid 30s, I'm the youngest guy in the room. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. And that's cool. Like it's a blessing to be there, but you don't necessarily see a lot of growth in the hip hop scene, right? Because all the MCs are 35, early 40s, right? Then there's other hip hop scenes I go to where everybody's still like, early college age, they're between 18 to 25, maybe grad student age. And there's really not a whole lot of guidance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the most healthy hip hop scenes, like I would say, like Birmingham, like Jackson, Mississippi, like Memphis, Tennessee, you know what I'm saying? Like what you got in St. Louis, you got your brothers, you know what I'm saying, born in the late 70s, you know what I'm saying? And then you got your young brothers and sisters, brother, born, you know what I'm saying, late 90s, early 2000s. And it's a healthy relationship. It mix up the two. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one thing I really appreciate about coming to St. Louis, right? So like, an artist like Tev Poe, who is wildly successful, wildly incredible, you know what I'm saying? A person like T-Dub-O, personally accurate, you know what I'm saying? They're younger than us, but they call you OG. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so like those type of things, like for me as a person that's kind of in between, you know what I'm saying? Born in the early to mid 80s or what have you, I really try hard to like bridge that gap in between, you know what I'm saying? And so I just think that's really important. But before we go there, because definitely the conversation I want to talk to you about, what was it like in St. Louis doing hip hop in the late 90s, early 2000s? Because my first introduction, like I had an uncle who lived in U City, you know what I'm saying, back then. I remember like the summer of 98 going out there, staying some time in the summertime before he eventually moved to California. But I didn't really know, like, St. Louis is north of the Mason-Dixon, but it's still really southern because
right.
because slavery was in Missouri. You know what I'm saying? And the boats, we was definitely dropped off there. You know what I'm saying? So it's a southern, but it's still Midwest, and it still has this different accent. And for the rest of the world, we didn't really know about St. Louis hip hop until the St. Lunatics, right? But with you kind of being, you know what I'm saying, what I would consider conscious on the underground, what people might call backpack side, what was it like for you and, you know what I'm saying, around that time period?
It was a good time in the sense that we were just coming to the point to where there were hip hop venues, because initially when I discovered the scene of the brothers and the sisters that came before me, it's like a hip hop show was kind of a special event. Like there was no regular hip hop night really anywhere. It was like there would be certain functions that would be thrown and, at certain nightclubs or other spaces. And that's where there would be shows, but there was nowhere you could go on a regular basis. For me, I was fortunate that I kind of came into my own during a time when there was starting to become regular spots that you could go to. Like some of them were short-lived, but they would figure out, another way to get something going again. So for me, that was good because I had places to work out. Those would be the kind of spots I would go to and just size up MCs, see who was doing what, and I kind of came into it probably maybe my last year of high school. I was trying to get in the spots with brothers that were older than me. Certain DJs, would look out for me. My man DX would sneak me in to certain joints. So I would sneak in myself, and I just wanted to absorb everything. But by the time I was 21, though, there were places for me to go, and the music, there were independent records. Again, I was fortunate that I learned about brothers and sisters making records when I was in high school. There were indie records, regional things playing here. And back then I thought if you had a record or a video, then everybody knew about it. It was getting played everywhere and everybody was seeing it. I didn't really realize how regional, certain things were, but I still had examples. I had several examples, when I started to go to shows. I remember going to see DJ Quick that when we made that song Just Like Compton. I was at that show. I didn't go to the after party, but I was at the actual show. And there was local St. Louis cats opening up. So when I saw it being done, I saw the records coming out, and I was super optimistic, and then when I started selling my own tapes, CDs, and then when we started putting out vinyl, right at the height of, I guess, the backpack, the indie raucous type thing was happening. It's like we were putting out vinyl around that time. So it was good, and then I started traveling and, really just trying to promote the records and everything. The scene was healthy in St. Louis because it was diverse. There was the thing about a lot of local scenes is that there's a lot more diversity than people realize. And that was one of the strong points of the St. Louis scene, is that it was very diverse. You had all kinds of styles, even though the quote unquote gangster rap kind of got pushed to the front, you had things that will fall under the conscious umbrella, things that were more like what the Far Side was doing. It was like we had every style, with the St. Louis twist on it. So that, I think that was the real strength of our scene. And of course, when Nelly and the Ticks came out, a lot of people looked at that as a positive thing as far as us getting a national spotlight. And it also kind of created or there was a kind of a divide that was kind of enforced at that point, because people would come up to me and some of my peers be like, yeah, but y'all doing the real shit, you know, that kind of thing, you know, and you kind of had, you know, that divide started to grow between so-called commercial, so-called underground hip hop, you know. But as far as, you know, opportunities and just creativity, the 90s were great. You know, the 90s were a really good time. I think the thing about that, when the Ticks came out, I think there were people who kind of assumed, well, hey, I can rap too, and eventually I'm going to get on like them, you know. And you started to kind of see that, people having commercial aspirations, or at least thinking that it was easier to get on than it really is. And you know, there was that, I think, overall optimism in the city that was just going to be the beginning of something more. Like there was going to be a ton more cats that were visible nationally. But as far as the underground stuff, you know, there were records being, a lot of independent records. We've been putting out indie records since like the late 80s and the 90s, and there were some good records being made. And, you know, I was just super optimistic during that time. The first official label I was on was actually a label that was based in New York. But one of the owners was from St. Louis. So again, at that time, I'm like, oh yeah, we about to take over the world, you know? and I'm seeing there's local labels, F5 Records, and some other local records companies started popping up. So for me, I was very optimistic. I was a little naive, and I was definitely ahead of myself as far as, you know, what I assumed was going to happen, you know. But the scene itself was very healthy, because like you said, that we had the remnants of the 80s guys still there. And then you had new people constantly coming up, and then we just had places to rock, you know. And we some events were created. We had the biggest graffiti wall in the world, Paint Lewis. We started doing that, you know. Around that time, we had support from college radio, support from community radio. So if you were, you know, in your 20s in the 90s, it was a great time, you know. It was really a great time. You know, there was some support. It was a support system. It was a real community, you know. But right, it kind of started to trail off a little bit into the 2000s as one generation got older and kind of disappeared, and new people kind of came in, and, you know, and then the increased or people kind of gravitated towards the idea of whatever was being sold to them as commercial success. So a lot of things kind of happened, you know, in the 2000s.
Right. I'm gonna pause you. Right. Hold on one second. Cool. Yeah. So I remember when Jaquan came out, and I remember reading an article. I don't know if it was an interview on like 106 & Park or Rap City, or I don't know if it was like an article. But I remember Jermaine Dupri saying, yo, real talk, while y'all sleeping, St. Louis is like the South Bronx right now. Like there's a lot of creativity coming out. And so for us outsiders who only knew Chingy and the St. Lunatics and Huey, we was like, what is JD talking about? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until 10 years later, until I went to St. Louis, to really understand what he meant. Like I'm, you know, I'm going, you know, of course we hear the accents or what have you, but I'm expecting to hear everything sound like country grammar. And I'm like, no, these niggas is with the hip hop shits. Like from the battle scene, you know what I'm saying? Like just the ones that we know about, from A Verb to Hitman Holla to, of course, my guy T Dubbo, you know what I'm saying? To you know, paying attention to, like, I really started paying attention to St. Louis hip hop when I first heard about Tef Po. I want to say it was it might have been the Straight Outta Missouri freestyle he did. And I think that might have got him in, he was on the blogs or whatever. And then, like, so I met him around the same time. No, I can't remember. I know we did our first gig together. He came down to Mississippi and did a show. So it was an alliance we had formed, and we was trying to do a whole lot more stuff. It was myself, Kamikaze of the Crooked Letters, from Mississippi, another artist from Mississippi, Fifth Child, and then we had Snipes from Memphis, and then we had Epiphany from St. Louis. I mean, I'm sorry, from Little Rock, and Tef Poe, and I think Poe kind of came in through Snipes from Memphis, and so we had a collective called Recognize the Real, and so the goal was originally for us all to like kind of book shows in like succession in all of our respective hometowns. And I know we did Baton Rouge, we did Jackson, and I want to say Kamikaze ended up doing St. Louis, but with all of us being from different places, you know what I'm saying? It didn't really work out how it was supposed to. But so I met Poe, I want to say it was sometime in 2012. It was right around the time he was in the Source Unsigned Hyper, what have you. And you know, he came down to Jackson, he rocked, what have you. And like, I want to say this is right when he might have first started kind of traveling. Because he did not look comfortable at all. Like he performed, you know what I'm saying? He did his thing. And he put his coat back on. And he was just kind of like walking around me. I'm like, bro, you straight, was good? I said, man, you know, bro, we in Mississippi, dog. You got this big old coat. He was like, St. Louis niggas wear coats. That's what he said. I was like, all right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but like, but it was through him who I really started like getting connected. You know what I'm saying? To St. Louis. And then when I came up there, I met you guys. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of saw both sides of what you would consider like St. Louis hip hop very quick. So like when we did the build at the Blank Space, we did it downstairs in like the little basement part. And so it was like some real underground shit, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When I came back a couple weeks later, I want to say when we did Poe's album release party, we did I want to say it was called Plush. I don't know if it's open anymore. Club Plush.
Oh yeah, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. But this is more like a club, and this event was more of the turn up party. I remember I got way too drunk that night. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I got to see the other side of what it is, but it was all dope. Because to me, hip hop is all about cultural intention, right? It's not so much about sound. It's, of course, you want to have the history with it, but it's not so much about sound. It's not so much about style. It's what you're trying to do with what you're trying to say, right? And so like, though, you know, you and T-Dub-O might not rap the same, it's still the same cultural intention. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is what I want to do. I want to play a song of yours real quick. You know, I did my homework on you, and I wish I had time to do more, but I wanted to just play some of your music real quick. So for the people who are watching, you know what I'm saying, they can kind of get an idea of the caliber of artist. This is Peace. Now your partner's name is Kanadis.
Yeah, Kanada Smith from Chicago.
Okay, Kanada Smith from Chicago and Lyfestile. You know what I'm saying? They dropped this on like last month, right? Y'all just recently dropped this, right?
Yeah, it just dropped last month. Yep.
Cool. This is Peace. We're gonna listen to this record real quick, and we're gonna get back into the rest of the conversation. I would be
I'm all about spreading the vibe, evidently. No president, dead or alive, could represent me. Talking about a piece of paper, I got a piece that's greater. Divine peace of mind, or peace, see you later. Pass the peace, like they used to say. Like the raps that they used to play. Who got the juice today? Bishop, and yo, I've been known to rip up all MCs till they fall and don't get up. Back to the piece like a section or a fragment. You wax, seeing no progression, fam, you stagnant. Tag it, hashtag back in the door. Peace is the absence of war. I mean tranquility, verbal agility, beyond your ability. She feeling me? Mean she wanna give me a piece. Download this shit before any release. Been to the east and west, they got a piece of the best. Midwest to Georgia, peach, I get fresh fruits and vegetables at music festivals. Peace ain't the word to play when they testing you. In the streets, crooked cops walk the beat. I get a piece of the pie so we all can eat. I get all the heat from Ken, he cooks it up. Peace needs to be still, my man, look it up. Peace is hard work, peace to the gods and the earth. Peace is the goal for all it's worth. birth of a nation, a piece of a clan. When you are who you are, pieces of a man. Then we up in this piece, and we having some fun. A piece will have you on the run when a piece is a gun. Speaking in tongues, I get elevated, lifted. Piecemeal parts of a record, and we flipped it. Unscripted freestyle, the best of me. Living and I'm driven till I rest in peace. If there's a hell below, all peace in the sky. Peace means hello, peace means goodbye. High hopes or pieces of a dream. I find peace rapid, releasing some steam. A piece of cake or a piece of a break. Peace in the Middle East for the people's sake. Peace in America, blessed are the peacemakers. A war going on outside to make the streets safer. The beast came in like a thief in the night. Spoke the peace pipe and see pieces of light. If the rules take away my peace, then I break them. Alafia, Amani, Assalamu alaikum. Peace. Shalom.
Yes, indeed. So I gotta ask you. So the first time I came to St. Louis, it was with Truth Universal, who was a 5%er. It was with the event thrown called The Build. You know what I'm saying? Right. By the brother Nato Khalif, by the God Nato Khalif.
Peace to the God Nato Khalif.
You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming that you are 5% as well.
I'm heavily influenced by the Nation of the Gods and the Earth.
Okay.
But I don't rock the flag, you know.
Understood. I wasn't sure. I thought so. I mean, whatever. Yeah. A lot of people think I'm a 5% as well. You know what I'm saying? Because right. I want to say around, I mean, definitely influenced by Truth Universal, but I want to say around 2000. You know, I was really doing research on the history of hip hop, right? And so I did a huge deep dive on New York street gangs and the Black Spades. And then, you know what I'm saying, like the Zulu Nation and the Black Spades or whatever. But then I was like, if we talking hip hop, New York, 60s, 70s, we got to talk, and 80s, we got to talk about the 5%ers. And so, you know, I did a lot of research on Clans 13X, a lot of research on what was going on around that time or what have you. And I say Black people are God. I say, you know what I'm saying, and you know, I use a lot of mathematics and alphabet in my raps. You know what I'm saying, but I'm not a 5%er. But I am a student and believe in Black liberation theology. So anything, you know, Marcus Garvey said Black people need a Black God. So anything that someone wants to deal within the higher self, or, you know, a spiritual system, what have you, that is based on, you know what I'm saying, beginning and ending with African people, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? So I just assumed that you were a 5%er, but I wasn't 100% sure. I wanted to be like, so how long you been a 5%er? But I will ask you this. You said you were heavily influenced, so that's the question I was going to ask. Like, you know, I always tell people, like for me, I was born in 83. You know what I'm saying? The first Public Enemy album dropped in 88. So I'm not going to cap like that changed my life. For me, my Public Enemy was Dead Prez. You know what I'm saying? Because I was, you know, they single dropped in 98, the album dropped until 2000, but that was me. Or I tell people, you know, my native tongues is the Justice League. Because of my age. It's my right. And not because I don't like it, but just realistically, like, you know, albums that came out in 86, 87 when I was 4 years old didn't have an impact, but those albums that came out in the early 2000s, you know what I'm saying, with, you know, Little Brother, Knife, One to Say So Comanche had an impact on me. So I always tell people, like, y'all think I'm militant and conscious now. Y'all lucky I didn't grow up old enough to like really understand what Brand Nubian and Poor Righteous Teachers or even X-Clan was talking about. So so being in St. Louis, you know what I'm saying, being in the Midwest or what have you, the top of the South, the bottom of the North, you know what I'm saying? How did 5%er hip hop or 5%, you know, whatever, how did that reach you in St. Louis?
It was definitely initially through the music. And I think the great thing, let me say this, I think it's fascinating to hear when people talk about what sparked them, you know, especially people younger than myself. Like even when I would build with Nato Khalif, he would tell me like the artists that were like his favorite artists. And it's like, I would like them too, but I would be like, man, by the time they came out though, I kind of already had, you know, whatever I consider my Mount Rushmore was, you know. But as far as the knowledge itself, it was definitely through the music. And I think the beautiful thing about it is that we really didn't know what Wise Intelligent from Poor Righteous Teachers was really talking about at first, but we all liked the song. So, you know, Poor Righteous Teachers, Brand Nubian, of course, Public Enemy, that kind of stuff was very popular. You know, it was just popular before we even got too deep into what they were talking about. And it was a little bit later, my brother DX, actually the guy who cut on the last song that played, my DJ for a long time, and a pillar of the hip hop community here. You know, he was doing a video show, and he had a regular hip hop broadcast from a venue for a decade. I mean, we could do a whole nother podcast about that brother, but he is also the point where the Nation of Gods and Earths starts in St. Louis. Like, he got knowledge itself, and he has enlightened countless brothers and sisters, you know. And so he's definitely important in that regard, in the hip hop sense and the knowledge of self sense as well. But also, when I began to travel, I went to school in Charlotte, North Carolina, at Johnson C. Smith University. So when I started kind of moving around the country, you know, I started, you know, building with brothers and sisters from all kinds of schools of thought, you know. And then, you know, by that time, I kind of understood a little bit more of what was coming through hip hop, you know, and other forms of music. But as far as St. Louis, there was a small group of the Nation of Gods and Earths, but we also had the Nation of Islam, which was more popular in not that it's just popular, but the Nation of Islam was more visible, you know, and the NOI definitely influenced me as well, you know. So, you know, I went to school with people who were in the Nation of Islam, and I had some good friends who were in the Nation of Islam. So hip hop, when I would hear these little jewels in hip hop, and I think for a lot of people my generation, you know, Brand Nubian, Public Enemy in particular, you would hear these things, and then when you draw that line to the NOI, or if you draw that line to the Nation of Gods and Earth, then that's all more reason for you to start learning more. And I think that's what happened for a lot of people in my generation. Hip hop really was that catalyst for a lot of those kinds of movements for a lot of people. So we have the All African Revolutionary Party. There are all kinds of little groups in St. Louis that sprung up, you know, or that became more prevalent as people got into hip hop in the late 80s and early 90s. So we saw growth in all of those movements during that time. And we have a history. We had chapters of the Black Panthers in St. Louis as well. So a lot of us had parents or other relatives who were involved in something of that nature at some point too. So again, when hip hop comes along and reinforces some of those things, then you have people that gravitate towards that. And as far as my hip hop identity, you know, I had brothers that came before me that were kind of on that tip that influenced me, you know, as well. And, you know, you just had a little bit of everything in the city where, and I think in most hip hop scenes where you start hearing some of the language, some of the way that people talk, whether they're copying New York records or whether they're trying to talk like, you know, the person who is a God body or the nation or whatever the case may be, it starts to, hip hop is just a conduit for all of that kind of stuff, you know, so it just spreads. So it definitely was strong around the time, I would say, shoot, maybe 94, 93, 94, 95, you know, you're starting to see that kind of thing become more popular. And it's still here, you know, it's just not, it's just different now, you know, but you still have those people, you know, who teach.
Right. I mean, let's keep it a bean. Like, St. Louis is a black ass city. Like yeah. Y'all black as hell. Like I remember, so the first time since the last time, brother, I did a show in St. Louis. It's almost been 3 years ago. Me and Alfred Banks. Alfred Banks was the other person from New Orleans who came with us when we came to the first time or whatever. But I went with him. I can't remember the name of the venue, bro. I can't remember the name of the venue, but we co-headlined. Well, it was his show, and I was on the road with him. It's 2017, December 2017. I can't remember the name of the venue. And I don't want to sidetrack us by trying to find it real quick. But I was definitely the oldest guy on the bill because Alfred is 8 years younger than me. So this is 2017. Okay. I was 34. So this means Alfred was about 25. You know what I'm saying? 25, 26 or what have you. He's 29 now. So he was 25. And the bill was built around him. And I'm definitely the oldest guy on the bill, to the point to where like some of the rappers' mamas was in there and like they was trying to holler at me. You know what I'm saying? Like very straight up, you know what I'm saying? Well, five mamas too. But I'm happily married and I did not oblige, engage, whatever. But they had some young dudes there. And they was rhyming, you know, the young street guy stuff, you know what I'm saying? What did he say? I don't know, he had a couple lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. I ain't gonna waste time trying to figure it out. But anyways, they were rapping, they doing the young turn up stuff or what have you. But I got up there and I just released my Project 7 and it's black as hell. You know what I'm saying? It was anti-Trump, fuck Donald Trump, all that, whatever. And these same young dudes who I was like, they're gonna leave when I rap because I'm the old nigga, they was fucking with it. You know what I'm saying? And so like they was like into it. And I was like, St. Louis is black as hell and probably post Ferguson. You know what I'm saying? Probably. So you have teenage kids who maybe were in elementary school who are rapping now, who survived and witnessed that firsthand or what have you. So before I get, so I want to ask you more about, you know what I'm saying, that period, because like I said, we met about 4 months before the Mike Brown situation happened. But I'm listening to your EP, you know what I'm saying, doing my research. Appreciate that. I find a song, you know, if you ever, you know, I find a record that I really enjoy called Burn It Down. So I'm gonna play this record or what have you, and then we're gonna get back to a conversation. This is Burn It Down from the Cannabis and Lifestyle EP, Where I'm At. And we're going to talk more about that later, but real quick, I want to play this record. Just Burn It Down.
In our society are considered by many to be very controversial, while to others, they're considered to be totally radical.
And so I think we have to look back towards our revolutionary ancestors. We have to learn from Nat Turner and Denmark Vesey and Harriet Tubman and all of the other black people whom we don't know about now because there were no records. We have to begin to talk about looking to them for leadership so that we can carry our struggle to another level and finally destroy this monster.
Never ended summer, we suffering from too much heat, carbon footprint, plus we eat too much meat. Hurricane season, terrifying the coast when the parasites paralyze the host. The ghost of my hopes and dreams start to fade when the anthem starts to play. I ought to say when you thought and prayed for the slaughter today, sons and daughters still faced an onslaught of hate, so fuck that, an eye for an eye, but who busts back? Guns in the classroom, you really gon' trust that? Plus black kids looked at like little criminals, ready to riot on a diet that's full of chemicals. Pitiful white man, automatic rifle with intent to kill. You need to kill your entitlement, violent abuser, emboldened by the president. Confederates and Nazis lost, so you better get back to where you come from. I know you won't like this, but when we burn it down, you won't be saved by your whiteness.
Totally committed to eradicating the oppression and exploitation to which we as black people have been subjected to for so many hundreds of years. See, I can't separate myself as a human being from my commitment to overthrowing all of the conditions in this country, destroying those conditions.
I think this is what frightens people so much, you know.
America's getting brown, we getting down, sit on down. AR-15 spitting rounds, babies in cages like a circus or a zoo. It ain't new, molesting the children, murder too much, fear you're gonna lose your position. To blacks and Jews, I'm confused, are you Christian? Religion of the terrorists, change my mind. Peculiar institution of the strangest kind. Now it's cheap labor and your pockets getting fat. You a glutton, taking aim at the orange man, hand on the button. What in the fuck? White folks on food stamps, be the first one signing up for boot camp. Cannon fodder with the black and brown, but motherfucker, we are not backing down. Black power, fuck the police, free Palestine, aiming at your hearts and mind. It's not a Valentine, race traitors and the ones you call race baiters. Play this in safe spaces, separate from the races. No faith in America's greatness, ruled by systematic thieves and rapists.
The oppressor in this country has tried to stifle our revolutionary potential, is to convince us that in the past we have accepted our oppression, to try to convince us that we accepted slavery, that we accepted poverty, that we accepted starvation. And therefore, practically all indications that there was constant rebellion, constant resistance, constant refusal, that has been wiped out.
Who's gonna put it into all the black suffering? Certainly not the black Republican. I can't knock the hustle when you lying to the people for $1. Saying that we equal so they seek you, not a scholar or an activist, just a capitalist, celebrity, a hack, unqualified to talk about equity. We idolize the rich, so how can we expect to be victorious here on earth? Can't wait for heaven, we praying and hoping to be like the token, trying to fix the system when the whole thing is broken and it's working like it should. We easily distracted, copy ways and actions and the tactics, not hating, the opposite of Satan. Time for growing up, and since we can't fix this shit, it's time that we blow it up.
So when you say these things, are you threatening someone or what?
We're threatening the oppressors with the power of the people. They forget that they have themselves revolutionary ancestors, and we have to begin to show them more and more that we are going to carry on that tradition. We're going to push it up to a higher level where we can really then begin to talk about building a society in which all people can be free.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, who is that talking?
That's Angela Davis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dope record. I love the choice. I love the choice not to bring the drums in and just let what you say breathe. I love the choice of letting Angela Davis be your chorus, be your hooks or whatever. And just the way you brought, I'm a conscious rap nerd. You know what I'm saying? Like I grade conscious rap or whatever you want. I don't have a problem saying conscious rap. I'll say it. I claim being a backpacker. Mm-hmm. I claim being underground. I claim being a conscious artist because that is my cultural intention. Right.
Sure.
I don't go by the limitations, the quote unquote limitations of it, because I'm gonna do what I want to do. But anyways, so when I say conscious hip hop, I know some people don't like it. Please believe I say it with 100% love. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
in admiration. But yeah, so I'm a conscious hip hop nerd, and so that's what I meant. That's what I'm meant it for. So do you think when I think Burn It Down, like I said, I met you 4 months before Mike Brown was lynched by Darren Wilson in St. Louis. Was it August 13th or 14th?
I think it was the 14th.
For August 14th. And it's funny because it was crazy because Tef Poe and T-Dub Bo had just came to Baton Rouge for the first time, literally almost a month to the day before. So they had just left Baton Rouge. Like I had seen a lot of Tef Poe in 2014, and then this happens. Yeah. And I remember like us having a conversation about it on the phone, and I remember introducing him to Jasiri X and all this other good stuff. I remember like at the time it was something, I want to say I was out of a job. And so you would have thought I was in St. Louis because I had just met so many different St. Louis artists, you know what I'm saying? Like just recently. And I'm watching everything y'all are going through in real time as far as when the riots is going on, the people that was on the front line of the situation. So when I hear Burn It Down, now I'm assuming, you know what I'm saying, that, that's might have been, inspiration for that song. Of course, we had a crazy summer, but my question to you is, do you think that because hip hop and because you said like the gods in the earth and because like all the different black the different black organizations or black groups, whatever organizations in St. Louis prior to, that's been there since forever. Like, if you do your research, we know Maya Angelou is from St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Several different freedom fighters. The sister Maxine Waters, you know what I'm saying, is from St. Louis. So there's always been something in St. Louis that created black conscious art. And there's always been something from St. Louis that creates great political leaders, the social activist leaders, so what have you. You know what I'm saying? Ranging from Hands Up United to somebody like, Maxine Waters or whatever. Do you think all those things in St. Louis play in to so much of us being able to see the revolution in real time after Mike Brown was lynched in Ferguson and all the activism that came out of it?
I hope so. I mean, when that happened, when Mike Brown was killed, the St. Louis community was definitely, the hip hop community in particular, was definitely on the front lines. I found out about it via Tef Poe, and
Same.
Tef and Dub and a number of hip hop brothers and sisters were out there on the front lines, and not only participating in the streets, but just disseminating information, helping to organize fundraisers. I mean, a lot of the community really stepped up. And I think Black people in general, no matter where you are on the planet, but in America in particular, we all go through these cycles of trauma, and it's unfortunate, by the time Mike Brown happened, for my city, it was the biggest. There was so much activity in the streets, so for a lot of people that may have been the catalyst for their consciousness. And I think it did kind of prompt a lot of people to kind of look at what's happening in the world, or to look at their situation and to analyze it. And I think it did raise the consciousness of the people, and I think that we have to take advantage of that energy, because it doesn't always last too long, and unfortunately, I'd seen other things, I was in high school when Rodney King happened,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then there have been countless, events that have happened in this city, because this city, the police brutality in this city and the exploitation that happens in this city is so commonplace that we had gotten used to it. I mean, Ferguson is one of those areas where what's going to happen if you get pulled over. At the very least, they're going to try to squeeze as much money as they can just for minor traffic violations, and at worst, we know what can happen, and I think that with Mike Brown, it was the boiling point for a lot of people, for a lot of older people. And then for younger people, maybe they were kind of shocked that it could go that far. But I do think that particular point in time, it was a catalyst. We had people from all over the world coming to St. Louis, and they were seeing what was happening in the streets. And it was a crucial moment. And I think that I think Dub is a good example. When I saw Dub in the streets, it's like he was, and I didn't know him that well before then, honestly. He played some shows and I knew him, but I didn't really know him like I know him now. And it's like to see the transformation in him, because now he's much more of an activist. He's still definitely for the people. He's still connected to the hood in a very real way. But him and Tef and some other folks who were out there, you could see that they were kind of positioned to to do the right thing for as many people as they could. And it was just the way that affected their own consciousness, you know, and the fact that, again, we've been seeing these things happen, but it's just, this was the boiling point for a lot of people, you know, and
right.
it kind of resonated all over the country when people were watching it happen, and not only watching it happen, but also relating it to their own experiences and realizing that this is something that we're all going through on a daily basis. So I do think, you know, from that time moving forward, you know, yeah, and when we talk about the conscious community, I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about your average person on the street,
right?
You know, seeing what's happening and kind of coming to grips with the reality of the world. That's when things start to get revolutionary. When you start to see your average person who may not consider themselves conscious, and they're forced into a position where they have to just figure out a way to deal with, you know, the system, the structure, the power structure that we deal with, you know. So
I got a dub story, and I can attest to what you're talking about. So when I brought Poe, like this, so St. Louis is black as hell, but St. Louis is tough as hell too, right? So like I know, like niggas been like it's funny that you brought up the Just Like Compton situation in that particular story. When that song when that song came out, I remember hearing it, and I remember hearing them talk about St. Louis and San Antonio. My auntie lived in San Antonio. My mom's older sister and my dad's youngest brother lived in St. Louis, and so I'm hearing these words on the radio, like, why they talk about these places that I go. And I remember my dad explaining to me what the song was about, and I remember him saying, that's how Ardmore is going to be, because, I mean, we all heard how I spent my summer vacation, how Ice Cube rapped about how all these guys from the West Coast set up shop in these areas and sold dope, and they brought the gangs with them, right? So the same thing happened to one from the Southern Oklahoma, right? So I was already familiar with the gang politics in St. Louis. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the first thing I learned. The gang politics in St. Louis when I first went out there, and when I stayed out there for a while in the summer of '98 in U City and surrounding parts of St. Louis or whatever. But so fast forward back to T-Dubbo. So this is Dub was still in the streets head first. So you know, me and Poe had known each other for a couple of years. We shared a couple different stories, blah blah blah. He saw Boosie or Webby, whatever, on television, and so Baton Rouge is a rough city too, right? So when he comes to Baton Rouge, he comes with Jason, the white guy who used to be his manager or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know if he's still around. Is he still around? I don't know. I haven't seen it from him anyways. But the white guy with the tattoos on his hand or whatever. He drove, and Dub was with him. So, you know, I got them a hotel. They're getting ready to go to the hotel before they go to the show. And I got them a hotel. And so they called me. I guess they was like, yo, we having problems getting into the hotel. So I like, you know, I don't live that far from the hotel. I go over there and pull up. And so when I flew to St. Louis to do Tef Poe's album release party, I was riding around with Jason. And so I recognized his car, right? So I go up, so I pull up and I see the car. It was like a white Jesus. I can't remember the name of the brand, but it was a white car, had dark tinted windows. So I'm a large guy. I'm walking up on the car. I see Jason's in it, and Jason's not really paying attention. And as I walk up, the passenger side window rolls down, and I may or may not have seen a pistol. What's up, cuz?
Right.
And Poe was running out. Yo, that's Marcel. Poe was like, yo, chill out. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I'm just coming to say, hey. He was like, man, I didn't know you a big nigga walking up on the car in St. Louis. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I didn't know Dub was coming with him. But I knew the car because whatever. So Poe was like, boom. So we go into the room, and I told the story before publicly, so he's not gonna be upset or whatever. So we talking or whatever. They are packing their bags. Man, this nigga Dub must have pulled out the biggest pistol. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I said, bro, what's going on? I said, man, you know, I brought my shooter with me. I was like, bro, I'm in the streets different than other street niggas because I'm a youth development worker.
Right.
I'm a teacher, I'm a counselor, I'm a mentor. So like I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna act like I got like super duper street credibility, but I'm able to go in as a rapper, whatever. I'm able to go into a lot of different neighborhoods because they know if you see me in your neighborhood, I'm here to save your son. I'm here to save your daughter. I'm dropping them off after some type of event we did. I'm here to do a counseling session or whatever. So that's where I get my hood pass from. I'm the positive nigga. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad because I ain't got to worry about Baton Rouge is a rough city, but I ain't got to worry about no street politics because people know I do work with these kids.
Right.
Like I always talk about like all the niggas that you shoot up in these songs, I'm the one, you know what I'm saying? Like all the women that you sell dope to and got them hooked on drugs, I'm the one taking care of their babies. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Baton Rouge is rough, but it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? So literally, so that was July 13th, 2014. And August 14th happened a month later. And I've heard Dub say like that's when he left the dope alone. That's when he started really like, so I saw, and I call him Bunchy Carter. You know what I'm saying? Because a nigga that's been and I'm like, we don't talk as much as we should, but I'm really a huge fan of Dub, like what he's doing with AMG, what he's doing about bringing all the gangs together, and you know what I'm saying, and like politicizing them. That's what Bunchy Carter did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like in 2016, he got me to the Millennial Votes Matter conference or whatever, and he did his piece about media training, and he is equally as intelligent and brilliant as he is gangster. He's all of those things. Yeah, he literally. We literally came to the conference. He did incredible panels, you know what I'm saying, about media training, his experience in St. Louis, and we went to the strip club that night, and it was lit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I am a very, very big admirer of what he's done. I think in Tempo, out of all my rap friends, he's probably my favorite. Now, what was what's the album with Say Her Name in like the album he put out? It came like on the intro of the song, they had a recording of him getting out of jail, but the day the album came out, he literally got out of jail that same day. I really credit Tef Poe, like, you correct me if I'm wrong, right? There's been a lot of political rap, a lot of conscious rap, whatever you want to say. I think Tef Poe might be the first and only hip hop artist to literally drop a recording album during the revolution while being active in it, right? So like Public Enemy never was like, they wasn't on the front lines. They rapped about the front lines, you know what I'm saying? Like they rapped about it, but like Tef Poe was really out there going to jail, really get beat up by police, really going to Geneva, you know what I'm saying? Really like doing all the political work, really meeting Obama, all this other good stuff. And he dropped the album during it or whatever. So like, and, you know, the things that he's doing now with Black Men Build, you know what I'm saying? And like, So I'm really, really, really a huge fan of him and everybody. Like one of my favorite people is Christian Blackman. I love her to death.
Oh yeah.
I have songs. Yeah. I have songs dedicated to her. You know what I'm saying? On 7, I got a song called Freedom Music. It was inspired by her. We finally met for the first time when I came out there in 2000. Wait, what's the last one with the St. Louis? I don't know. She gave me a ride from the airport to the airport. But anyways, it was 2017. But anyway, so just that revolutionary spirit you guys have, man, and like coming from hip hop, I think it's very fitting that you said a lot of those things came before, you know what I'm saying, when you were younger. You know what I'm saying? And so it's cool to see. It's cool for you to be here, to be a conduit and to be a conduit, passing this type of this leadership, this OG-ness, if you want to say it, on from when you was in high school to now when these young brothers are coming up. Because Dub's only like 27, 28. He's still a young guy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so like, you should definitely, man, like give yourself props for that, man. Like, at least
I appreciate it,
from the outside looking in. Like from the outside looking in, man, because I'm gonna tell you, bro, I'm 37 years old. I'm the OG for my city. There's no person older than me or a person my age who was here doing what I'm doing from a socio-political, from an underground conscious situation. And so I'm the pioneer. So like in terms of like hip hop and activism and things of that nature, like I am the first to really do it. And I'm not gonna say I'm the first to do it. I'm the only one operating at the level that I'm operating. You know what I'm saying? Like being a hip hop educator, really being active in the community, what have you. And I'm not saying there's other people that ain't doing give it back or whatever, but like there is no lifestyle or Truth Universal in Baton Rouge. So I have to occupy those type of situations. So I know how difficult it is to play those positions sometimes, when you have to think about the good of your people, especially the younger people, as opposed to what you're trying to do for yourself. And so we get into these very selfless positions. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
you know, but and that really goes to the need for having OGs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a person, like, especially just as a student of hip hop, man. Rappers your age are the people that raised me as it pertains to, like, because, you know, God bless my pops, you know what I'm saying, my mother, like, neither one of them were conscious or militant. I got all this from hip hop. So catch your age, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, hip hop really helped me gain this political education. You know what I'm saying? And just so I always look to you guys, you know what I'm saying? Be it somebody like Wise Intelligent, or, you know what I'm saying, or to even people that are more closer to me in terms of reach, as in you yourself or Truth Universal. So I'm giving you your flowers, man. Giving you your flowers.
Hey, brother, I appreciate that a great deal, man. Seriously, and also the work that you're doing, man, is inspirational and it's important. And I think what we should all do, man, is we should all be bouncing that energy off each other, man. So I mean, I listen to what you say and I watch what you do, and that's powerful and it's influential, you know, to me, you know. And
Word.
And as far as anybody in this city, man, I mean, I've had a small hand, you know, in building with a lot of these brothers and sisters, man, but really it's the fact that we've been able to maintain some kind of sense of community. And I think that's really the thing, is when we started doing the St. Louis Underground Music Festival, you know, myself and like 9 other people, the majority of us were from the old guard, so to speak, you know. But when we created the festival and we started doing certain events, it allowed us to stay active in the community, so that we interact with the people that are up and coming, that are kind of, you know how music scenes are. Everybody doesn't come through us, you know what I mean? But, you know, there's a certain kind of, you know, creativity and lyricism that we encourage regardless of the content, you know, and we kind of see and are able to deal with, you know, a lot of the up and coming artists in some capacity. And I think that that's really the strength of it. And even myself, fortunately, I'm connected to brothers and sisters who aren't necessarily seen, but who, again, came before me, you know, that I can still make a phone call to if I need to, you know what I mean? Or have given me good information, or that I can counsel or whatever. And it's really that sense of community that I think keeps us all strong. Because I'm like you, I watch what Tef and them do sometimes, and I'm like, man, how can I help? You know, and we all are in it together at the end of the day, man. But I was fortunate, man. I met Tef I met Tef. I wasn't even an OG yet when I met Tef, you know? So I was able to kind of see him come into his own, you know? I was kind of able to kind of watch him. But again, the transformation and things that he's doing now, I mean, it's great to see, you know? But I think we're all fortunate in that we do have a community here, you know, where we're all connected. We can all bounce ideas off of each other. And, you know, and I've been fortunate that I've just always stayed active for whatever reason. I never stopped making music. I never stopped doing shows. I never stopped being involved, and I never stopped being a fan, you know? So, you know, and that's really, if I am able to reach anybody, man, I know that hip hop is that conduit, because that's really the best way for me personally to connect with anybody. So most people that know me is because of hip hop, you know, and I'm just glad that I've been able to do that.
Perfect segue. So, oh man. So this is why we're here. This is why we're here today. This is why you're one of my favorite Facebook posters, right? So I have this
Likewise.
I have this pet peeve of mine. As much as I love and I was raised by, you know what I'm saying, brothers who were born in the late to mid 70s on hip hop, some of the fans really drive me crazy, right? So I shared this, I saved this post, and you've had several posts like this, but this is one of the posts I saved. So you dropped this about a year ago, November 29th, 2019. You was in your bag this day. You said, complaining ass old heads that haven't listened to an entire hip hop album said Get Rich or Die Trying can't really have an intelligent, informed convo on what's going on with hip hop today. They just want to bitch and moan to each other. I love the golden age. I make boom bap. I'm critical of a lot of new stuff, but I haven't stopped listening, and I know dope shit is being made by the OGs and the kids. Some stuff ain't for me, and that's okay. Scott, Lyfestile Woods. When you said that, literally, I shared this. I was like, oh my God, he's speaking to my soul. One of my biggest pet peeves as a person, you know, when J. Cole made the song Middle Child, like he said, I feel like I'm in between the old school and the young kids. I definitely feel that way. And for me, as a touring artist, man, like I've averaged probably going to like maybe 22, 23, 24 states a year over the last 3 or 4 years. You know, of course, not for COVID. So I'm really, like, for me, like Baton Rouge has a small burgeoning local scene, but it's not very established. And honestly, like the type of hip hop that we're talking about with that particular cultural attention, if I'm not doing it, it's not really happening in Baton Rouge, right? So, and for me, that's just me as a facilitator. For me as an artist, if I want to go to a particular scene or hip hop community to where I can actually flourish or whatever, I got to leave Baton Rouge. That's why I tour so much. So I've been blessed to do shows Oakland to New Hampshire, from St. Louis to Tampa, Florida, from Fort Wayne, Indiana to Tucson, Phoenix, Arizona, to like, I'm really out, like, and I go where the culture is, right? Like, yeah, Atlanta's cool, but send me to Athens, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, yeah, like, you know, I love Birmingham, Alabama. I love Mobile, Alabama, Jackson, Mississippi. I love probably my most active and like they go crazy for me fan base is Portland, Maine. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, oh, bro, I got stories about them forever. But so I'm very proud as a country boy from Southern Oklahoma. I'm very proud to have my fingers on the pulse of the culture in real time. Right? So I know there's dope as cultural hip hop with the cultural attentions that we talk about out there. And I don't even be talking about, you know, things that we can stream. I'm talking about I'm in places where it looks like the last 10 minutes of 8 Mile. You know what I'm saying? Right. We in a dark room and it's you know what I'm saying, 80 people in a 100 cap room and everybody got their hands up and niggas are spitting. Ain't no over vocals rap. Niggas might start break dancing. Like I'm there where the culture is, right? And so I get so pissed, Lyfestyle, when I see brothers your age, man, who get on this ain't no new hip hop. And what bothers me so much about it, life, is like people your age who might not have been as active in the community as you, they're used to getting all their music from either videos or radio, right? They complained that the major labels killed hip hop, right?
Yep.
They made this complaint. That should have been a dub for 10, 15 years in terms of us having to rely on radio or, you know what I'm saying, music videos to get our music, because now we have social media, we have streaming, and we have YouTube. You can tell me better than I can say it. Like, it's much easier for us to find new dope hip hop than it ever has been. Because back in the G, if you wasn't going to the shows to find the local acts, you had to wait every Tuesday. Right? You had to get up out your house, drive to the record store. We had one CD shop. We had one record store in Ardmore called Hastings. You know what I'm saying? I was there every Tuesday, right? And like they didn't, because of Southern Oklahoma, when I was into the backpack shit, I would have to order it. So I would go, I get all the good Southern independent stuff before it went national, whatever. They had all that shit, the No Limit stuff, Cash Money stuff, UGK, all the Texas stuff, because we in Southern Oklahoma, whatever. So, you know, but if I wanted Black Moon, I had to special order Jay-Z albums. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
Because I'm in Southern Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying? I remember special ordering the Streets is Watching soundtrack. And they never, like, I ordered like 3 times before I finally got it. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So even me as a person who, you know, I might not be in your generation, but I'm old enough to remember a time before social media and the internet ran everything in hip hop. So it is literally easier to find hip hop than it ever has been. However, people would rather complain, and honestly, because of social media, because of streaming sites, I would argue that it's probably more conscious hip hop, dope hip hop than it was, that we had access to more than we did. It's easier, and you know, I could put my album on iTunes right next to Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying? You could put your albums right next to Drake. You know what I'm saying? So it's easier to find us than it ever has been. But the same people who complain about hip hop being ruined by major labels only pay attention to shit that is fucking posted and pushed by major labels, and that fucking burns me up. I'm getting mad just thinking about it, bro.
Right.
So what I want to talk to you is, and I'm asking you, I have my theories or what have you, but why do you think there's such a disconnect between guys who are in the culture around your age and a lot of the underground music that's coming out in current times?
I think it's probably a combination of things, man. Again, when I was coming up, Poor Righteous Teachers and Boogie Down Productions was just the cool shit across the board. So there was Crips and Bloods listening to KRS-One, you know? And again, it's not that they were grasping everything he was saying necessarily, but that was just the cool shit, you know? And I think that sometimes it's part of it is that even if you're aware that there might be some things along the lines of what you like being made, it's really not in vogue right now. So it's like, it's not, if you're not going to make the effort to really look for it, which is crazy to me, but a lot of people are like that. They want it to be, they want to be able to turn on the radio and hear something that they like, or they want to be able to go to their favorite website and it's just whatever their particular taste is supposed to be what's hot. And that's just not the case. And it hasn't been the case for a long time. So I think part of it is that it's almost like a sense of entitlement. And don't get me wrong, I want the balance to come back. I don't want anything that's being made to go away, but I do want the balance to come back. But I do think that a lot of older people, for whatever reason, they don't make the effort to even keep up with the culture, you know, because, you know, there are a lot of artists. Dude, Master Ace is still making records. You know what I mean?
In his 50s, bro. But the Brooklyn Story album, that was my favorite album of 2018. Dog, album was incredible. I love that album, bro. I love it.
And there are people who haven't listened to Master Ace since, you know, the 90s. And they'll complain that, you know, hip hop is dead, or and I think with a lot of us as we get older, man, we don't, for whatever reason, we get set in our ways, you know, and we'll say, oh, it's easier for me to just complain than for me to actually do the work of finding what I like, even though I think it probably takes more energy to complain than it does to actually just try to find something that you're really into.
It's easier and it's cheaper than it was.
Yeah.
Like when if you wanted to get 3 CDs, back in, let's say 2000, you had to have $45.
Yeah.
Like $12 with tax, $45, right? Boom. You pay your $8.99 a month for Spotify and listen to all the music, and you ain't got to get up off your ass.
Yep.
It's cheaper. You ain't got to go. You ain't got to pay no money. This, that, and the third. You just listen to it. And like I said, so this is another that pissed me off too, right? And so it's like, man, like I said, I grade conscious rap on a really, really hard curve, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was highly, highly critical of King's Disease. You know why?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Because there's better conscious rap out there.
Yeah.
There's better.
Yeah.
I love Nas. Nas, one of the top 10 MCs, maybe 5 of all time. but I listen to enough conscious rap to know that there is better conscious hip hop out there. But these motherfuckers won't listen because A, he's not a legend, and B, he's not connected to one of these big machines, right? Like, you know, it ironically, it got nominated for a Grammy in the same category as King Disease, but I think that Black Habits is a better album than King's Disease. I think Add To's Jim Crow, a musical, is a better conscious hip hop album than King's Disease. But because these guys aren't legends, because and then there's always the New York bias. You know what I'm saying? And because these guys are independent, coming from the underground, my favorite conscious rapper right now is Bamboo. Bamboo is a Filipino brother from Watts, I want to say. Tel Pose does some music with him or whatever. Like, when I say this dude, like, probably him, and I ain't gonna lie, I love the new Jasiri X record he just dropped. I talked to him yesterday, but he is probably dropping the most far left radical shit that I'm listening to out of everybody. And like, I actually got a song. No lie, I have a song with Bamboo in which we both rap about Ferguson and Tef Poe and what was going on at the time. We did it like in 2014-15. It's probably never gonna come out because we lost some files got damaged and we kind of moved on from the record, whatever. But the stuff that he's talking about, literally, he's rapping about, you know, redistribution of wealth, like some real left-wing radical shit, way left of the Democratic Party. And he's a Filipino dude. But he makes like, but his stuff is like super duper like pro-black, whatever. But so the music that we want is out there, bro. But it's like we only pay attention when it comes from major labels or when it comes from old niggas, bro. And this is no disrespect to like that, but it's like, come on, man. For me, it's like I find a lot of older MCs don't want to let go of the past, or old hip hop don't want to let go of the past. And so I have this thing, you know, I definitely believe that, like, if you want to call yourself hip hop, that you need, you know, you do, if you're young or what have you, I do believe you need to do the knowledge. You need to listen to the classic albums, you know what I'm saying? You need to know who Big Daddy Kane is, even if you're not going to go do the whole discography. You need to know, like, I think you need to know what years. You need to know that Illmatic came out in 94. You need to know that ATLS came out in 96. You need to know that Aquemini came out, or Miseducation came out in 98. Like, you need to know these things. You need to know it or whatever. But I also feel like, Lifestyle, and this might give you points in the face, my brother's your age. I also feel like if you can't tell me who Blue is, if you can't if you don't listen to Little Brother because they not national, then I would like I also, just like I think that, like, there needs to be an entry exam for people to get in hip hop and get cultural credibility. I think the old heads, I think some niggas, just because you did some shit in the 90s and the 2000s, I think you need to update your card, buddy. Like, I think you need to know, because it's like, so that means by you saying that you don't, like, I heard one dude said this shit was so egregious, bro. He my guy too. I can't even talk to you right now. This nigga said Silk the Shocker rap better than most niggas after 2009.
I've seen people say crazy stuff like that.
No, first, if you said Silk the Shocker, bro, that's hyperbolic as it comes or whatever. But like, so like for me, bro, like my children are on my album, right? I want my great grandkids to enjoy hip hop in real time. I want them to know about what I learned about when I was coming up in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s up to now. I want them to know what my kids are going to listen to when they're in their 20s. And I want them to, it might sound like alien music, but I want my great grandchildren to have that same feeling from the same cultural attention. And if it's really about hip hop and not about nostalgia and not about regional bias or not about who is being pushed by major labels, then none of that other shit should matter, bro. Like Bobby Sessions signed to Def Jam from Houston, Texas. You know, I'm sorry, from Dallas, Texas. I'm sorry, making some black ass hip hop on Def Jam, like making black, like decidedly making black ass conscious rap on Def Jam. And man, it feels so good to get this rant off. But but you know what I'm saying. But like, you know, I just think that you know, and just like when I talk about hip hop, like I really try to leave myself out of it. But I know what I'm doing. And more than me knowing what I'm doing and the type of music that I'm putting out, I know that if I were, people would respond to me if I had more bells and whistles and fame, and I'm cool with that. But take me out the equation. Like I told you, I'm in Portland, Maine. I'm in St. Louis.
Right.
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm in Tampa, Florida. I'm in Oakland. I know that this culture of hip hop, this craft, the DJ and the MCing, the break dancing, the graffiti, the community outwards, this knowledge of self. Dog, New England got most Zulus. Dog, New England, like, you know, a lot of people left Zulu Nation after Bambaataa.
Right.
All the white
I was
boys
just
and
about to
Zulus up
start a
there.
chapter when that shit happened.
Bro, I was about to join the chapter in Memphis, but it was like, oh, we good, we straight. And I still got Zulu Kings up in New England trying to recruit me. I'm like, I'm good, man. I fuck with you, but I'm straight. It's too much. Whatever. It's too much going on. But New England probably has one of the largest Zulu. Like when these are all mostly white Puerto Rican cats. Like the culture is alive and well if we turn off the goddamn TV and just really go fuck with the real shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's important.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like if it's about hip hop, it shouldn't have to come from one of these record labels that's really owned and pushed by white supremacists with stocks and big pharma and in prison.
Right.
If we really love hip hop, we really love black people. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't have to come from that. It should be if it's really about self-expression and speaking truth to power, it shouldn't matter if it's coming from Nas or if it's coming from D Smoke. Or if it's coming from somebody in St. Louis. Man, Accurate is incredible. Let me say that.
Yeah, for sure.
Accurate is incredible.
Definitely.
What he has to say is just as important as Royce the 5'9".
Yeah.
And absolutely. If Accurate is snapping, then that's what we should be into. It shouldn't have to, well, he's only 27. I'm not listening. Get out of here with that shit, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Look,
we were listening to...
I know. So I told you, we're not doing interviews. We have a conversations, and that is my rant. So let me step on my soapbox, and if you want to jump in and make any points, let's do that. I can talk about this all night.
that's great, and I think I agree with you, and I think that for myself, I'm into the culture of hip hop. So when people say, you know, hip hop is dead or hip hop sucks now, whatever, really what they mean is whatever they're seeing in the media and on the radio and TV, they don't like it. That's really what they mean. So they mean that the music business, they're upset with the music business, you know, but if hip hop is a culture that we can all practice and spread and participate in, I think the healthiest thing for us to do is to continue to do that. Like when we were talking about St. Louis, you know, all of the artist community, we support each other, we learn from each other, we teach each other, because that's what we're supposed to do. And whatever happens, whoever gets played on the radio, that's great. You know, whoever does X, Y, and Z in the business of entertainment, that's great. But it's always good to be able to come back to a culture that you can depend on, no matter what's happening in the media or what's happening in the so-called mainstream that we don't control. And I think that, you know, it's like you said, all these people who complain about what they don't like, if they would just spend a little bit of money and a little bit of time on the things that they do like, then you will see things start to change. And even some of the commercial stuff will start to change, just because all these things happen in cycles. Everything happens in cycles, and everything starts, or it should start, from the community and then move out, you know? So it's like, if the community has a certain consciousness, and at the very least, you can enjoy art that's being produced by that community and be fulfilled by that, whether that cracks the mainstream or not, you know? And I think that that's where our power is as a people. You know, I'm glad you look at regional music like go-go or bounce, things like that are very culturally relevant, you know, but they're not mainstream. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing though, because the people that enjoy that, they get a lot from it, you know, in participating in it and listening to it. And it's like, unfortunately, hip hop is the most popular music in the world, but that doesn't mean that we can't still have it on a cultural level and not really worry about what anybody else is doing. You know, hip hop goes wherever we go. You know, so hip hop is never gonna die. You know, hip hop is whatever we want it to be. And we give too much credence and too much validation to these outsiders who try to sell us our own culture. And none of us have to participate in that, you know, but we're just so used to it that we continue to do it, and then we complain when things don't go our way. But of course they're not going to go our way because we're not in control of that situation.
Right. And it frustrates me because, like, man, oh, bro, I'm trying to fight another rant. We create the culture, we create the dopest shit. White folks see the shit, and you got two types of white folks. You got the white folks that's going to really support it, and you got the white folks that's going to exploit it. I can tell you, as an underground conscious hip hop artist who travels around the country, St. Louis, Memphis, Jackson, Atlanta might be the only time I see majority Black crowds. 80% of the shows I do as a Black ass, fuck Donald Trump, the Black woman is God ass rapper, the majority of the people who I see in the crowd don't look like me. And it really frustrates me. And it frustrates me. And it's not, I'm not even mad at the white people who support it, because I see the white people, the ones who really give a fuck about breakdancing and DJing and graffiti, and, like, you know, really spitting more than a lot of the brothers in the hood. And that really frustrates me. Now, as conscious artists, I understand that I have to do more to get the hood involved. And that's something that I've been trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Getting the hood involved, like, because honestly, hood niggas ain't coming downtown. So they already know, like, yeah, this ain't for us. We kind of stay on our side of town, right?
Right.
So I've been trying to do more music and basically do more work to, like, bridge the gap or whatever. But it's just like, it's so frustrating to see that we created such a dope situation and we don't support it how we need to, and that we only really get behind it when a white man tells us to. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's super duper frustrating to me. That's super duper frustrating to me, man. That's a whole nother rant that I'm gonna have to unpack at another time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be out here all night. So look, brother, man, I ain't gonna hold you on too long. We getting on. We a little bit past the hour. You probably can't see, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm playing your music videos in the background while we talking, and we have you just on some cool shit. Is there anywhere? So tell us about this new EP that you just dropped a couple weeks ago with Kanadas.
All right, the new project, Where I'm At. We just put it out. We put it out on most streaming services. I think it was on November 10th, and I think it dropped on Bandcamp around the 20th or 22nd, something like that. Man, I had to fight to get this EP out, man. It's been done. It's been done for a while. We really want videos. We still are going to shoot some videos. But because of the pandemic and everything and our schedules and, you know, trying to deal with some other things because of the current climate, we couldn't really get together and knock out as many videos as we wanted to. But we're going to do some videos and point people back to the record. But I really wanted to get it out. I feel like it's timely. I appreciate you liking Burn It Down, man, because I was joking with Kanadas. I was saying, man, this record's going to be a downer. It ain't going to be for everybody. I mean, none of them are for everybody, but I know that I can get into a zone where it's going to get kind of dark. You know what I mean? And so it's like, if you ride with that, man, I really appreciate it.
Man, look, I am a fan. I am a fan of the high quality album cut. Like, not the filler, but like, those are my favorite records. Like, all right, it's towards the end or maybe in the middle of the album. You're not really trying to sell it, so I'm about to say what the fuck I really mean and what I want to say. And then, like I said, just like your politics, you know what I'm saying? Like your personal politics, your political education, man. We have a lot of the same influences, and, like, you know, as it pertains to, like, you know, the content of your art. And so that type of record speaks directly to me. And when you know what I'm saying? You know, a couple of years later, we experienced something similar to Mike Brown with Outchea Sterling, right? And one of the first people that banged my line was Tef. and Dub, and they really kind of like reached out to me, whatever. So like, you know, when I hear Burn It Down, again, it's timely what's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? We saw the summer, like the world really paid attention to everything that happened post George Floyd throughout the summer. A lot of this shit was capped,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, in terms of goddamn Gusher saying we wouldn't be nothing without the black community or whatever. But
Right.
I do think, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I felt like out of all the different quote unquote lynchings and police killings that happened, I don't know about you, but there's something that felt a little bit different. Something felt a little bit different. I think this might have been a time when even white folks was like, God damn, like it's really crazy for niggas out here. You know what I'm saying? So it felt a little bit different. You know, only time will tell what's gonna happen. We got a new president coming on, whatever. But you know, but yeah, but so where I'm at, Kanata Smith Lyfestile. I got the Bandcamp pulled up. Go buy the digital album for $7. Are you gonna do physicals for it? You gonna do physical CDs?
We thinking about it. I don't know. We might even do vinyl, man. We've been talking about doing vinyl for this and the last project we did, from which I came. We talking about doing some 45s and some 12 inches. We'll see. I'm trying to gauge the reaction, you know, trying to test the waters real quick. But it's definitely on the table to do CDs and vinyl. But yeah, that's the new project. It's brand new. Man, we again with the production, there's no drums, which, you know, I was resistant to initially. But Ken really knocked it out of the park as far as crafting every song around the content. Like,
right.
I recorded all of these to different beats, like dope beats too, man. And he pulled them all from up under me and just sat back and just created something special for each and every song, man. So it's an incredible feat in that sense, man. And I like it a lot, you know, and I hope people enjoy it, man.
So you can get it on Bandcamp at somethingwonderfulrecords.bandcamp.com. That's right. Bandcamp. What's some of your other what are some of your other social medias and websites so you want people to go to check you out?
Man, Instagram. It's Lyfestile 7 at Instagram. That's Lyfestile and the number 7 at Instagram. And same thing for Twitter. Facebook is actually Lyfestyles, Lyfestile at Facebook, but it pulls up my government name, and I have an artist page on Facebook as well. And yeah, there's gonna always be, you know, countless links to all the music on all those social media spots, man. There'll always be links on those pages. But yeah, man, I definitely, you're one of the few people, man, where I check for your posts every day. Like, I always, if you don't pop up, I'll go to your page and see, you know, what's going on, you know, because again,
man. You know what's funny about it, bro? It's like, I'm my only child, man. And honestly, sometimes I get so caught up on just completing the task, I don't necessarily pay attention to who's reacting to what I'm doing. So for me, to me, the best results are completion, right? So a lot of things that I do, I don't think about how many views it gets. You know what I'm saying? I don't get caught up in that. I get caught up in, I want to do this podcast and I'm going to do it. And I want it to be quality and I want to add to the culture, right? But I don't go back and look at the analytics for this particular podcast, because to me, the culture is the most important aspect, and just for me personally, completing the task, right? So I don't always know who's listening. So if I'm making, sometimes I just be trying to get some thoughts off, my little black thoughts or what have you, and I don't necessarily think people be paying attention until I'm having a conversation and somebody's able to repeat something to me that I just said while I was just laying in my bed with my drawers on and my socks. You know what I'm saying? Like watching Law and Order. You know what I'm saying? So I hopefully, and you know, I definitely, and I didn't get to touch on this too. Like, I think, like, I saw where you wrote for XXL. I saw where you wrote for Raw Roots. I think you wrote for Riverfront Times as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. So I can see, like, so when I read your posts, I can tell I'm reading a writer's. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
When I'm listening to your music, I can tell I'm listening to a writer. And so, and you know,
that.
You know, it's one of the many things you do well. Brother Lyfestile, I'm gonna go ahead and get on down. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Really Outchea podcast. The goal is for me to drop a new podcast with a friend of mine who, you know what I'm saying, has a very particular skill set that we want to have a conversation on every Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and put the cat out the bag. Next week, I got Carnage the Executioner, which I'm super duper excited about that, man. This is episode 1, episode 0. Had my partner Alfred Banks, but I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even have a name for the podcast. I just started recording, but I was talking to my friends, so whatever. But good brother, it's good to see you. Good to have you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I'm definitely going to be sharing the link to the new EP on all my social media, and yeah, man. You know, when we start running back guests, man, I definitely don't want you to be a stranger.
Oh man, this is my favorite kind of thing to do, man. And again, it's community, man. We all part of one community, man. So I appreciate it, Black.
This has been the Really Outchea podcast. Peace.